I'm Eric Barnes with the Daily Memphian, and welcome to The Sidebar, a weekly show on the community, arts, culture, and more. Today we're talking with Cindi Younker, director of the Buckman Performing Arts Center. So stay with us for a conversation with Cindi. Cindi, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm kind of a fan. This is nice.
Oh, that's really nice of you. And it's funny because we've emailed so much over years. And as we were getting ready to sit down, I don't think we'd ever met before.
I don't
Which is a funny thing because I feel like I don't think I'd said your name out loud.
We've been to a lot of the same parties probably.
Yes,
but yeah.
It's very funny. So anyway, thank you for doing this.
It's an honor.
Let's do a quick thing for people who maybe aren't familiar with what Buckman is, just briefly, and then we'll talk about the lineup, and then maybe go back to more of the history of Buckman and kind of some of the other stuff we'll do. But give the quick snapshot of what the Buckman Performing Arts Center is.
Sure. We are, I like to think, one of the best kept secrets in Memphis. We're a fully functional performing arts center on the campus of St. Mary's School. It's just 288 intimate seats. We have a series of internationally famous performing artists that come and perform each year. This year we have 8, and we're very excited about them, including Leo Kottke and Pure Prairie League and Flamingo Vivo, whole host that we will talk about. But in addition to our main stage series, we also have a children's series called our Magic Carpet Ride performance series, and that's for kids ages 2 and up. And we bring in local or regional artists, and it's an opportunity for kids to have their first experience with live entertainment or live performing arts. Then we also have our Levy Gallery, which we have 4 to 5 regional artists that have a professional art show in the space that's right outside the theater. And then we also have the Buckman Dance Conservatory, and we serve about 200 dancers around the city from 20 different schools. So at 3:30 after school is out at St. Mary's, our doors open to the greater community, and we serve people from all over. We have people that fly in from our shows, believe it or not. So, but we're, like I said, a very intimate venue, so that's always the kind of conundrum of you just need to attract the attention of 300 people, basically. But it's the most engaging and intimate space in the city. Anything that happens on that stage is a once in a lifetime kind of experience because you have to be engaged with the artist. You're so close. The furthest seat from the stage is 40 feet. Yeah. So you are really kind of interacting and of that moment, and it's an individualized experience each time.
Of course, it's funny. I've been to performances, but then my daughter went to St. Mary's High School. She was 9th through 12.
Oh, I love that.
And she graduated, I don't know what. I have no sense of time anymore. She's 25-ish. So whatever that means, so she graduated 7 years ago.
21.
Yeah, right before
pandemic-ish.
COVID. Okay, she was right before. So she was 18, 19, right in that space. That's the same space I've been in, right? That is the Buckman Performing Arts.
Absolutely. That is where the choir, the band, the
she was
plays.
In choir.
Yes. They all, absolutely, that's the exact same space. So we do a lot of balancing there, and we work with the school to make sure that all of their events get priority. And, we have a set calendar, so we know when we can bring things in, and it's a wonderful relationship. And it's by their grace that Buckman is there.
Yeah. No, it's an amazing school. My daughter went there for just for high school, but it was just a great, wonderful, transformative experience. I'll tell you, you mentioned choir. I was there for choir one time. My daughter did choir. She'll love that I'm telling this story. And it was required that you had to do an arts thing. And that was fine. And she ended up doing choir. And I went to one performance, and then I went to another. And she was just back one of the choir. And then I was going to go to this other one. I was like, hey, I'm going to miss this one. And she goes, that's fine. I go, are you sure? I hate missing your performance. She goes, oh, I don't sing when I'm up there. I go, Kenzie, what are you doing? And she goes, oh, no. I love to sing, but I don't really so I just mouth the words.
That's hilarious. I love it.
It was the most on-brand thing for my daughter. I was like, you are fascinating. She goes, I love it. I love being with my friends, and I love to sing, but I just don't want to be Well, and they would have, Julie and Doc Millen, that was back in their day, and they would do band and choir tours. So I think that was the pull. If you were in choir, you got to go on the trip. Yeah, she did some of that, and apparently just mouthed the words. She was just a mime of choir.
And apparently did it quite well. No one called her. No one caught her.
You're
the only one.
She made it out of St. Mary's and through college. She's a very successful person.
So funny.
Amazing. Anyway, back to the point though. And how long has Buckman been doing this series?
It's our 28th season. Yeah, and I've been there. It's hard to believe. Time flies. I've been there for going on my 20th season. My daughter could barely walk when I started, I came over from the Germantown Performing Arts Center.
Yeah.
And she's now a junior in college. So she made it all the way through St. Mary's and on with her merry life. So
yeah, that's amazing. We just interviewed Park Kennedy, the new,
Oh,
pretty
right.
new,
I've
head of
known her for
GPAC.
years, of course.
Yeah, it was great. It was really good. We were out at GPAC and we interviewed Paul back in, where did we figure out? January, February, March, sometime in the spring. Who Paul Chandler, who obviously went to River Parks now. So that's a great institution also.
I replaced Paul the first time he left.
Oh, that's right.
And then he came back. Yeah.
Yes,
so
that's right.
I was there for 5 years.
Yeah.
In between. So know all those wonderful people very well.
There are similarities with GPAC. In its way, GPAC is bigger.
Oh, it's 3 times bigger.
It's a big facility. It's got. I'm not saying, but there's an intimacy to what they're after, and
Absolutely.
there's a very particular type of they've got a venue or venues now because they have the outdoor space of a particular size, which both limits them but also creates opportunities. I feel like, and I feel like that's what you're describing with Buckman. You're limited to 300, but that's not limit. Isn't the fair way to characterize that?
Right. I've sat in both seats. I've been at GPAC and then I've been at Buckman. And in a way, it's kind of more liberating to only have 300 because you can try something and if it doesn't work, you just don't do it again. The stakes are not quite as high. Whereas, when you have almost, they're what, 824, I think?
Yeah.
The stakes are a little higher. Your artist fee are a little higher. Your expenses are going to be a little higher. You've got to make sure you've got that audience. So it's kind of, like I said, I've done both, and I really do enjoy the freedom of Buckman. And GPAC does some amazing things. They have built such a great jazz audience. And they've done amazing things with their outdoor venue. We love going there. And jazz is a fickle mistress. That's a tough one because it's a late buying crowd. It's one of those that'll kind of make you teeter on the edge of your seat, just historically. And so the fact that they built such a great audience for it.
Doesn't matter the jazz. It just means if you have XYZ jazz, that audience is just going to be...
That is just bluegrass, early buying audience. Jazz, they really are.
This is like secrets of booking acts.
It's
I love
truth.
this.
No, bluegrass it's so easy. It's like shooting fish in the barrel. I mean, people will they just buy their tickets in advance. That's just the demographic. And people who go to jazz for some reason, and some jazz is, more traditional jazz, I think people are going to plan for it more. But they're more of a last minute.
Yeah.
When you think about the entire genre, it's a more go with the flow kind of.
What's another last minute one? Or are there other ways that you sort of characterize this stuff?
I'm trying to think. I like family shows that have an opportunity for families to experience together, and those tend to sell usually in advance. People kind of plan ahead. A lot of I don't want to call them spread head, but that'll be a last minute kind of. What I'm talking about.
No, I don't know spread head.
Your widespread spread panic.
Oh,
crowd,
okay.
Keller Williams. When we bought Keller Williams, he falls into that basket.
Gotcha.
That sort of jam bands. There you go. Jammy bands. That's going to be a later.
Yeah.
Because people are, kind of going, oh, Monday, what am I going to do this
Like,
weekend? I think I'll get a ticket, or let's just walk up
and they're
and
like,
see.
you know what? Hey, I didn't think we were going to go, but actually I'm feeling
But now
good
it sounds good. And
yeah.
Which is also, and it's interesting because you can also predict, how much you're going to do at the bar, basically.
Oh, I'm sure.
You really can.
Oh, I'm sure.
And sometimes we miss the mark. Sometimes we'll go, it's a big wine crowd. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
That's
funny.
Yeah.
It's funny too, the intimacy thing. And again, we'll get to the lineup and talk more about some of the acts that you just talked about. But I was just at a show, Pulp, Jarvis Cocker Pulp in Atlanta at a place called the Tabernacle, cool old converted church. I think it's probably 1,300 seats, maybe 1,200, somewhere in that range. Kind of what they're doing over at Crosstown, getting into that 1,500 sweet spot. And it is so much more fun to be in a place like that than to go to a big arena. And there's nothing, I went to 1 million arena shows in my life. I will again, that's fine. I'm not knocking it, but just I think where I am now in terms of going, and I love to go see live music, just that whole difference between being in something closer to 300 to 1,500 versus something closer to 10,000 to let alone 50,000.
It's the interactive nature. It's just so nice to have that kind of interaction with the artist. I mean, again, because it's every show. It's really funny. I don't even remember who it was. It was somebody we had that went on before somebody else, and they did sort of this rehearsed kind of, it was almost like a monologue, and I'm like, this is so unnatural. Like, it's things like that don't work well when you have an intimate venue. It's when you can riff and vibe off of what's happening around you, and shoot off the cuff. And like one of the best artists we ever had was Colin Hay from Men at Work. Like that man is just so stacked with all of these incredible stories of life on the road, and just sitting and going and listening to him talk about what he's been through and the things that he's done in his ventures, and then just sprinkle in music in between. Like those are the things that it's just like, okay, this is so worth it. That's one reason we're opening with Leo Kottke, and he is absolutely that guy. I mean, he's the quintessential touring, performing art. Like that's all he does. He is on the road. He is playing all the time. I mean, that's who he is. And it's just fun to have somebody like that because he's just got all these rich stories.
Yeah. It must be fun, given the intimacy. The other part of that is you get to meet these people in a way maybe at a bigger place you would not spend as much time, right? I mean,
that's probably true. When I was at GPAC, I still picked up the artist at the airport. Although now there's Uber, which that's kind of changed because we are so small. I've only got, there's like 2.5 employees, and then we have volunteers that come in and usher. So it is on us to pick them up at the airport, make sure that they have something to eat, get their hotel room, and and all that, which is lovely. It really, really is. And most people are fantastic. Actually, my husband and I were just talking about that last night. Like people you would think that would not be as pleasant or who might have had a reputation, a lot of times will surprise you. And like John Popper was lovely from Blues Traveler. He was fantastic. Like we had such a good time with him. And Michael Glabicki, I don't know why. I thought the guy from Rusted Root, I don't know why I anticipated him to be kind of a diva, and he was not. I mean, he was just so fun. And
so many of these artists they're very, when you talk about these bigger bands, like they start when they're kids. Mm-hmm. And I think of things I did when I was 22 or 3 or 4,
you're
that
absolutely
is not
right.
different. That's a very different person. And, I love listening to artists, like interviews and, podcasts with that kind of stuff. Because especially, certain reputations are built at when they're suddenly famous. This is true of athletes as well.
Sure.
They are suddenly cast into this huge spotlight with, in the sports side, a lot of money. But if Men at Work exploded and suddenly there's money and there's all this stuff, and who knows how they behave then versus now.
You're 100% right. And one review, one bad experience that people talk about, and it's hard to shed that. You're 100% right. And we were also talking about some artists that we've had that, we had Buckwheat Zydeco, which was a fantastic show, and they did a great job. And they were out the door on their tour bus and gone before I could even get back to the green room to check on them. And, they're older too, and you're like, you know what? You don't know how somebody's feeling. You don't know if they're having a rough day. You don't know if they gave everything just to be out on that stage and entertain for 90 straight minutes and going, okay, I've got another gig. I need to go. You don't have any idea what someone's experiencing because they're just people too. Yeah. So for the most part, everybody's lovely. Yeah.
I'll remind everyone we're here with Cindi Younker from Buckman Arts Center. We'll talk more with Cindi and go through it in more detail, some of the other acts that are coming up. But let me do a bit of housekeeping and remind everyone I'm Eric Barnes. This is The Sidebar. It airs on WYXR 91.7 every Thursday at 11:30. Focused on the community, arts, culture, everything in between. It's not just a radio show, though. It's one of many weekly podcasts we do at the Daily Memphian, including a daily podcast that we launched recently, our morning podcast, AMDM, that features Natalie Van Gundy, who produces all of our podcasts and sitting next to me, as well as Mary Casciola, and a different staff member at most days where Mary goes deep on a story, Jody Callahan, Sam Hardiman, Bill Dries, many, many different members of the staff on the AMDM. We also have our Memphis Grizzlies podcast with Chris Harrington and Drew Hill, and our food podcast, Soundbites, hosted by Holly Whitfield. Soundbites also airs on WYXR every Thursday at 11. We do also host the podcast version of Behind the Headlines, the TV show we produce with the good folks over at WKNO every week. All of our podcasts are on the Daily Memphian site, as well as iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can get the WYXR shows, Soundbites and Sidebar, at WYXR.org or on the WYXR app. And that includes all the WYXR shows, talk and music, archives of all the DJs, the many, many DJs who volunteer to put on talk shows and music shows and so on. That's all at WYXR.org or get the app. If you're not a supporter of WYXR, it's nonprofit, listener-supported radio, so do become a member. You can join and become a member and get all kinds of benefits. You can do a one-off donation. They actually just announced Raised by Sound, the big annual concert and fundraiser that they're doing, which will be headlined by Steve Malkmus. And is it Kurt Vile? Kurt Vile is another big act that'll be there. You can go to WYXR, get tickets, I think they go on sale. They just went on sale something like that. Also, Daily Memphian, also a nonprofit. We are very much supported by paid subscriptions. So if you are a paid subscriber, we appreciate that very much. But paid subscriptions cover just over 50% of what we do. Then we have advertising and sponsorships, and about 25% of what we do is fundraising. We're coming up on our 7th anniversary of the Daily Memphian next week, the 17th of September. I can't believe it. We're marking that with a big event. If you're interested, you can email me, actually. We'll just do it that way. It's easier. Email me at barnes@dailymemphian.com, event at the Ansdale House hosted by Bill Townsend. So that's coming up to mark our 7th anniversary. Coming up soon on the sidebar is folks from the Women's Foundation, as well as folks from Barth House, the Episcopal Center, at the Episcopal Center. Recently, as I mentioned, we had Park Kennedy from GPAC, we had David Lusk from David Lusk Gallery, Samuel Bryant from Bridges, Casey Murley from OPC, and many other shows. Behind the headlines this week, we've got the head of the University of Memphis School of Public Health. And coming up in a week or two, we've got John Zena, who's what I'm going to just call the infrastructure czar for the city of Memphis. That's not his job. I don't even know that is his role, but I'm going to call it that until he tells me otherwise. John has been involved in smart growth, smart city, public planning, all that stuff for many, many years, and has been on the show many times. We're glad to have him back. Recently on Behind the Headlines, we had from MLGW, we had Doug McGowan and Ursula Madden on the show, talking about all things going on at MLGW. It was really good. And we also had Shondell Ryan on the show recently from the Downtown Memphis Commission. And we've done there's just been so much news lately. We've done a ton of 2 or 3, more than usual, roundtables of various, talking about various biggest stories of the week. Again, before we get back to Cindi Younker and talk more about the upcoming lineup at Buckman Performing Arts Center, this is just about as you listen to this, the last chance to register for our small business seminar. That's September 18th at 3:30 at the Botanic Garden. We've got folks from ZoopMed. We've got David Perdue, who started a landscaping company in his teens and now has a big multi-million-dollar business, as well as Andre Ford from Campbell and Ford Construction. That'll be a panel discussion. There'll be food and drinks after. That's all at the Botanic Garden, September 18th at 3:30. You do have to get a ticket, so go to dailymemphian.com, choose seminars from the navigation. That'll take you to Eventbrite, or you can just go to eventbrite.com and search for Daily Memphian. We also have coming up in, which I don't have the exact dates in front of me, our Developing Memphis seminar, which is going to focus very much on the Edge District in downtown. Is that right, Natalie Van Gundy? And then also our commercial real estate event, which is generally the biggest of the year, just a look back at not just commercial real estate, but all kinds of development going on in Memphis. That's coming up in early December. But again, we're still here with Cindi Younker from Buckman Performing Arts Center. Talk about other acts coming up this fall.
Well, as I mentioned, we are opening with Leo Kotke on Sunday, the 14th of September, and then we're...
Let me interrupt you, even as I ask you a question. Where do people go to get this lineup?
So they don't feel like
they have to take notes.
Go to buckmanartscenter.com. Everything is there. Everything's on our socials, on Facebook, on Instagram. You can purchase tickets. You can find out more about the artists. You can see video of them. You can go to their websites. Everything is at buckmanartscenter.com. So please go do a deep dive and see some of these artists for yourselves. We'll slide into Pure Prairie League after that on September 28th. That one's going to be a sellout too. Leo's doing pretty well himself right now. And then we have Soweto Gospel Choir coming October 18th, and that's going to be such a fun opportunity. They're going to do a free workshop at 6 o'clock before the 7 p.m. show.
Oh, wow. What's that? A workshop?
So they're going to talk about blending voices and, how they match up, and they're going to sing with do an educational background about, they're from South Africa, and, their travels and a little behind the scenes kind of.
That's a cool thing you get to do in a small venue absolutely. That you can't do in an arena.
Well, and educational outreach is a huge part of what we do. Whenever we can, we try to share our artists with the community. And we have a very robust program with the Shelby County schools. So in the spring, when we bring Flamenco Vivo, Carlota Santana, and Omnium Circus, we have a house full. In fact, we have more than 300 kids coming to those. So they'll come in the daytime for an educational outreach performance, an abbreviated kind of school show. And then that evening they're welcome to come back. But we have our evening performances with the artists. So it's, we try to do as much as we can, and we don't charge the schools. We do it free of charge because it's really part of our mission to share what we can with as many as we can. So after Soweto, we have a group from Scotland called Cantrip, and it's their first time here in Memphis. So that's going to be...
When is that?
That is November the 6th.
All right, I'm going to Scotland in
are you?
late September, early October. So I'll look for them and
Yeah.
give them just some tips before they come.
They're going to be so pleasant.
Now they laughed at that.
So Robert Campbell, who was a great supporter of Celtic music and had a show on WEVL, he passed away right around the time of COVID. And this is his wife's way of honoring his memory.
That's amazing.
She helps bring these artists in and brings in a lot of what he used to bring. Back in the past, we didn't have to do much Celtic music because Robert always took care of it. So it's a nice partnership for us to be able to kind of really celebrate his legacy and still uphold Celtic music. And so it's fun to have a group from Scotland. We're excited about that.
Yeah.
And then we've always kind of had a history of doing contemporary dance and world music at Buckman. And we're really kind of leaning into that this season. We're going to come out in January with the Klezmatics, which is the Grammy Award-winning klezmer band, probably the most famous klezmer band that there is in the United States. So we're excited about that on January 22nd. And then I'm not going to say it's high art, but it's my favorite. And I have a son who's a senior in high school, and this is the only artist that he wanted to see before he graduated with his friends. We're welcoming back the Popovich Comedy Pet Theater.
Okay.
We have 2 shows of that on February 5th. And when we bring in Popovich, we really try to, which it's sponsored by Hollywood Feed. I have to say thank you so much to the great folks there. But we really try to open up all of our spaces in the lobby to local rescue groups. So anybody who's listening, if you have a rescue group or work with a rescue group that you love, please send them our way because we offer free display area and table space for them to come and try to, all these animals that are in Popovich are rescue animals. So we try to really promote the rescue. And I have 2 rescue cats that have come from Popovich events in my house right now. So it's a great opportunity to kind of take a different angle.
Wait, and go back. I saw this when I was getting ready. We're passing over the fact that it's the Popovich, it's a pet circus. It's a pet. What is it?
It's so well done, though. So they have a show.
Well done. I actually just want to dwell on it for a second.
So here's the spoiler. There is a moment when, the pony's name is Mr. Diamond. There's a moment when you have a cat riding a dog riding a horse on my little stage going around in a circle. It's
okay. There
again,
we go.
I'm not going to say it's higher,
right,
but it's so well done. So he's got a permanent show in Las Vegas, and then he'll take tours around the country. But it's all the pet acts are sprinkled in with vignettes of juggling or weight balancing. And he does such a great job. And they have cats and they have dogs and pony. They've got geese. They have geese that play football with a balloon. I mean, you just have to see it. He does such a great job. And then he comes out in the lobby afterwards and he has a cat on his shoulder and,
there's a cat lady in there.
And he's written a book. Hey, me too, girl. Me too. I see you. And he has a book, How to Train Your Cats. And he's amazing, and they've just put on such a great show. And like I said, this is Davis Younker. This is the one thing he wanted before he went off to college.
That's so good.
That's how I got him. They had no routing at all. That's another thing. I am so small, and I know my lot in life. I have to work with a lot of agents to build routes and kind of go, all right, if you go to Kansas City and then Arkansas, and then you've got a gig in Nashville, you can stop in Memphis, and I can take a Thursday night or a Sunday night, and you'll get, it may not be as much of an artist fee, but I can get you free hotel and I get you food, and something's better than nothing when you travel through. So I do a lot of trying to work with the agents to kind of build that. And we had no routing for Popovich, and that's how they finally made room. I like the sob story. That's all the baby boy wanted. Awesome. So, and then we're going into Flamenco Vivo Carlota Santana on March 27th, and they are fantastic. They're going to do a master class that's free and open to the public. They're going to do their school show that day, and then they'll do the evening performance. And this is live flamenco musicians and the beautiful dancers that have been around. They've been around almost 30 years, I think. And they're fantastic, and we love working with that ensemble. And then we're closing with Omnium Circus, which we've never done before. This is on April the 16th, and it's aerialists, contortionists, it's stunts and acrobatics, gymnastics and slack wire and hula hoop, but they're all differently abled. So everything is sign interpreted. There's a lot of sensory friendly. You might have an aerialist who is paralyzed from the waist down. It's a reimagined circus that sees everybody and a wide scope.
That's going to be amazing in that venue because it's so small and intimate in a good way to have people doing those.
When you have breathtaking, when you have people stacking chairs that are up to your proscenium, I mean, it makes a difference. It makes a difference in a more intimate venue.
Yeah, and again, BuckmanArtsCenter.com.
Yes.
People can get all this. They can get tickets. They can get on the calendar and learn all about that. So I am interested. It's funny that you were talking about the routing, and we talked with Park at GPAC West. I mean, sometimes they're trying to fit in somebody's schedule. Like, how do you get a drop by? And that Todd Richardson from Crosstown talked a lot about that with the new venue going into Crosstown. Of one, it's the Live Nation partnership, and Live Nation is what Live Nation is, and so there's a ton of connections. But also just, hey, why is Memphis getting passed over when artists are going from, say, Little Rock to Nashville to Asheville? How do we fit that in there? And again, it's finding the routes and finding the sweet spot of the venue and the relationship with Live Nation. I find all that stuff, the inside baseball of it, fascinating when people talk about, well, why didn't we get this concert, or why didn't we get this show, or we got that show, not with that. They don't understand the work and coordination and all the parts and pieces that go into this.
A lot of it. We have an annual conference called the Association of Performing Arts Presenters in New York every year, and it's a huge expo. It's like 3 stories, 3 big, huge rooms of just booth after booth after booth of agents and artists. And that is all you're doing, is you're wheeling and dealing and seeing who's going on tour and seeing who's taking something new out. And you're going and watching showcases that, you can see the new, if it's a dance performance, what they're touring this year. So cool. You can see what these artists are like live. You can go look at some artists that you may not have considered before, but, might be an emerging artist, which is really a lot of what Buckman does too. We really like it when we can have these artists that, are going to be bigger later. This is the last time you're going to be able to see them in this intimate venue before they're huge.
I would imagine in that kind of situation too, you can talk to your peers and say, hey, are they as good as I've heard, or are they as difficult as I've heard, or anything, you get that sort of feedback from somebody who's worked with these groups.
And you can build a route. You can sit there and go, hey, buddy in the suburbs of Atlanta, it's so good to see you again. If I do them on Thursday night, do you want them on Saturday night? Yeah. And hey, my friend in Kentucky, how about you take it, So that's,
and make it easier for the promoter, the artist, the whatever.
Absolutely. Because sometimes, sometimes it's working with the agent to get a route. Sometimes it's working with your friends going, okay, if we offer them this lump sum and divvy it up this way, then.
Yeah.
And make it easy for them. Make it no-brainer.
Again, everybody can learn more about all this at buckmanartscenter.com. We're almost out of time here. My question I always kind of ask people at the end, or I do ask people at the end, is what was the first concert you ever went to?
Ooh. I think it was In Excess.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we thought we were so cool. It was over at the Coliseum.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah. And we kind of snuck over on the side, and we ended up being right by the doorway where the band walked out, and it was so cool to be that close. And again, it's the intimacy when you're in a place that huge, and being able just to see them as they were coming on and going off. And we thought that was the coolest thing ever.
That's very good. That's very good.
I'm still a fan.
I think we've had somebody say In Excess before. Probably.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Or the Cult. It was either the Cult or In Excess. Yeah.
Also, Cult was.
And
also
I have seen the Cult since. Yeah, they've been back to Minglewood. And,
yeah. That's pretty good. That's really good. Well, thank you very much for being here. Folks can go to buckmanartscenter.com. If you missed any of the show today, you can get the full episode at WYXR or Daily Memphian or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next week.